Happy birthday to me. Guess what? It's been 1 year since I quit my corporate job. How did I get here? Let me rewind a little. You see, I started working when I was 18 years old. My first ever job was at McDonald's. After a few years of working, I landed a job at a bank. I did that for about 3 to 4 years until we relocated to a new place, so I had to find another job. That's when I got hired at a trust company in downtown Calgary. Imagine skyscrapers, people in suits, rushing with coffee in one hand and laptop on the other, people talking about financial stuff that nobody understands. That's where I worked. In fact, I work at the 39th floor of a beautiful building with a view of the whole city. To me, that was an achievement because I felt like one of those people working at Wall Street, even though that's probably exaggerating it. Regardless, I was proud of myself because I got into the corporate world. Not to mention that it was also the highest salary I've ever gotten in my life. After a few months of working for this company, I got promoted and I thought, this was it. This was going to be my path. I was going to climb the corporate ladder and I'm going to live happily ever after. But that didn't happen. Because here's the thing, I was miserable to the point that I would go home crying because I was exhausted physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I'm usually someone who would never complain about workload or speak up about what I feel because I'm a terrible people pleaser. I don't want my workmates to think that I'm a whiner or that I'm not a team player. I always want to give it my all. I tried to justify things by thinking corporate jobs are supposed to be this way. I mean, most people hate their jobs anyway. And so I kept on going even though it slowly drained the life out of me. Thankfully, I was already doing my side hustle when I got hired by this company. I was in the e-commerce world for a few years at this point, selling digital and physical products. Fortunately, the year that I got hired by this company was also the year that my business boomed. It was so successful that I was actually making more money on my side hustle than my day job. So why didn't I just quit right away, you might ask? Well, I was scared. Quitting would mean letting go of my stable income. It would mean fully depending on a business that I'm not even sure that can support me month by month. You see, my sales fluctuated, and so I wasn't sure if the revenue that I was bringing in at the time would still be the same revenue that I would be bringing in 1 year later. What if my success was just a fluke? It would mean letting go of my safety net and jumping into the unknown. It was a scary thought. And not only that, I also thought of what other people would say. I was earning good money from a good company with amazing benefits. Most people would kill to be in my position. I should be thankful that I even have this job. And so I kept on working for that company for a year. Until January of 2023 came, I just came back from a beautiful vacation from the Philippines, and it was more miserable than ever to come back to work. We also recently got a new puppy at the time, my dog Zoe. So on a Sunday night, January 8th to be exact, I had this great feeling come over me that I just can't do it any longer. I had this thought in my head that if I die tomorrow, would I be proud of what I have done in my life? If I rewind and look at my last day on Earth, was I doing something that truly made me happy? And do I really need that much money to be happy and fulfilled? And so that's when I made the decision to submit my resignation that same night. I also have our new puppy as an excuse that someone needed to be home to look after her. In hindsight, I think it was perfect timing that we got Zoe then, and God was using her as a way to solidify my decision. So I quit my 9 to 5 today, and it's the first day I am officially self-employed. And so fast forward to a year later, here I am now. This month, I officially hit my 1-year solopreneur anniversary. 12 months of no meetings, no boss, and doing what I want each day. Sure, I've made less money than what I would have if I kept the corporate job while working on my business, but I've never been happier in my life. I can finally say, I'm living my dream life. That gave me goosebumps. So if you're on the same boat, having the same thoughts, sitting at a job that you dislike, and wondering what it's like to leave, let me share some lessons I've learned since quitting. The first lesson is that success isn't overnight. If you recall from my story, I was already doing my side hustles for a few years when I got hired by that company. I'm not here to tell you that I quit my job and replaced my salary instantly. No. It took me a few years and a good amount of trial and error before I was earning enough money from my business to support my lifestyle. Many people think that entrepreneurship is like the ads you see on social media. People by the beach with their laptops, sipping pina coladas while money constantly rolls in. While sure, this life is 100% possible, I hate to break it to you, it doesn't happen overnight. There may be the occasional exception of a handful of people who gain success overnight, but that is not the case for most of us. Building a business is hard work, sometimes even harder than working for an employer, but it's also 100 times more rewarding. It's not going to be easy, but let me tell you, people don't want an easy job. You think you do, but if you get offered to be paid to do nothing, and by nothing I mean you can only sit, stand, and go to the toilet for the rest of your life, I can bet you won't accept that job because it's boring and meaningless. People don't want an easy job. What they want is a job that allows them to pursue what's meaningful. And to me personally, there's no greater satisfaction than being your own boss and being in control of your own time. I promise it's worth all the sweat and tears. The second thing that I learned is that it's good to have savings. Before I quit my corporate job, I ensured that I had at least 6 months worth of income saved up in case my escape from corporate Canada didn't work out. While this isn't absolutely necessary, especially if you're a braver soul than me, I think it'll help a lot on your journey. It gives you this peace of mind that if something doesn't work out in your business, or maybe your sales weren't as good as you expected, you have an emergency fund to run to. You won't be constantly worried day by day if you're gonna get by. It's scary enough to go after a dream that doesn't come with any guarantees, but it's even scarier to go after it when you're constantly worrying if you're gonna be able to pay rent or afford groceries. And that's where an emergency fund comes in to soften the blow just in case some things don't work out as planned. It'll also give you more time to fix things in case you run into any problems with your business. You don't have to go back finding a job right away, which is the very thing that we're escaping from in the first place, right? The next lesson is that time freedom is better than money. I read this post on Instagram that said, people think of cars, bags, and jewels when you ask them about luxury. But the only luxury I had always ever wanted to afford was a slow life. All I want is to be successful enough that I get to live every moment of the day and indulge in the simple things in life without worrying about the next meal. Some say the most meaningful things in life are free, but to live softly and slowly seems to be the most expensive thing of all. And that resonated with me. Now that I have the freedom to do what I want whenever I want to, I can say that there's no amount of money the corporate world could ever pay me to go back. Do I still wish I could be making more? Of course. In fact, I'm constantly working on diversifying my income streams to ensure that this lifestyle will be sustainable for years to come. But would I exchange this life if a company paid me 10 times more than what I'm making now to work for them? Probably not. Time freedom is the ultimate luxury of all, and the fact that I can afford it with the money that I'm making now is more than enough for me. The next lesson is that budgeting is a must. When I quit my day job, I made a thorough list of all the bills I'm paying month by month. You see, I never did this before because I was always so confident the money would always be coming in my bank account and I would always have enough to pay the bills, with some leeway for the occasional splurge here and there. But when I quit my corporate job, I knew I had to be stricter with my money. So I took a hard look at my spendings and I realized I was spending so much money on unnecessary things like subscriptions I never use or clothes that I never even get to wear. I was wasting money on stuff I didn't need because I was using it as a way to fill the void of unfulfillment in my life. I was in this mentality that since I work on a job that I didn't like, I deserve to buy anything I want. All these unnecessary spendings almost became like a reward. But once you leave your day job and let go of a steady income, you really have to budget only for the necessities, especially if you're not making a lot of money yet. You'll probably have to skip on your wants and make a few lifestyle changes. And I was okay with that. I personally think that the lifestyle change is worth it if it meant I'm happier and 100 times more fulfilled. The ultimate goal here is to create a life that feels good on the inside, even if it doesn't look as glamorous from the outside. The next lesson is that not everybody will understand, and that's okay. Growing up in a culture where working for a company and having a stable income was the norm, not everybody understood the why behind my decision. The life I chose was unconventional and risky. To this day, whenever I tell people that I run a business online, some of them still can't believe it. In fact, for the first few months that I quit, I didn't tell anybody but my family and my boyfriend because I was so scared that people were gonna judge me for my decision. But now I think I've come to terms with it. I'm actually proud of what I've achieved so far. I've earned 6 figures in my business in 2023, and that's more than what I would have made in my corporate job in 1 year. And if some people don't agree with it, I'm okay. As long as I'm staying in my lane, I'll happily pursue this life I've chosen for myself. The next lesson is that busy is not the same as productive. I was so used to working in fast-paced environments that when I became full-time in my business, I was constantly finding things to do to keep myself busy. I equated the word busy with productive. If I wasn't doing anything or if I'm not busy, I felt guilty that I was wasting time or I was cheating on my business because I still had this employee mindset in me. But then I remembered that one of the reasons why I quit in the first place was to have time freedom. And now that I finally have it, why am I constantly pressuring myself to still work like a horse? It was a terrible habit that I had to break. And honestly, I'm still working on it to this day. I always have to remind myself that it's okay to slow down, and that doing 2 to 3 important things is way better than 15 meaningless tasks. The next lesson is that fear never really goes away. Sometimes you just have to do it scared. There comes a day when you realize that the fear never really goes away. That if you want something, you just have to be willing to do it scared. You won't have answers for everything, and success isn't always guaranteed. But sometimes diving right in and facing the thing that scares you the most is the only way to discover your fullest potential. Before I quit my corporate job, I tried to think of the worst possible case scenario. That is, my business will fail and I'll probably have to go back and find another job. And to me, that worst case scenario didn't sound as bad. I've been in the workforce since I was 18 years old. I'm used to working my whole adult life. And so going back to work for another company isn't as bad as it seems. And I think it's worth the risk of seeing what's here on this side if I just pursued my business. So if you have a dream of leaving your 9 to 5 to pursue entrepreneurship full-time, know that it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. All the best things in life are going to scare you. It's going to shake your foundation. And even if your hands shake and your knees tremble as you take that first step towards your dream, I can assure you it's going to be worth it. I promise. I hope this video helped you. If it did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye! This is Zoe. Say hi!